Here we go! Here we go! 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 Whoa! 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 Here we go!
So everyone, welcome to this video. Today we'll be showing you how to hack a Nintendo controller or any games controller to play beats on. So my name's Dave. I teach music technology at SoundLab, which is a charity based in Glasgow that gives music production lessons to anyone who needs them or wants them. Like I said, we're going to be hacking a Nintendo controller to play beats on. So let's get into this tutorial and have some fun. Now you might know already that Ableton is already key mapped, and I'll show you that in a second. And our quick way of controlling Ableton with this is to use this guy, send its information down the USB cord to a little plugin called Joy2Key. Okay, that's on Windows, but there's other versions that do a similar thing on Mac. But Joy2Key is going to take the signals from the buttons I press on this, and it's going to map them to the computer's keyboard, which is already mapped in Ableton, and you can add custom mappings as well. So when I press a button on this, signal goes to Joy2Key, which then tells the computer to press a keyboard button virtually, and then that triggers the thing in Ableton. So it's the easiest way to hack one of these guys for making music on. Let's take a look at the actual keys and how they're mapped on Ableton right now. So there's something in Ableton, and I think in other DAWs, that we can use to our advantage. It's already key mapped an octave across the keyboard here. We've got 15 buttons we can access along the row from A and along and Q and along. And if I arm a bass synthesizer, I can just play it. And that actually goes from C1 to D2 across the keyboard. So that's 15 different notes already key mapped. You've got these buttons Z and X that are key mapped already as well. They can go down an octave if you press Z, or up an octave if you press X. So these are already key mapped, and we are going to sync up our Nintendo controller with these keys. Another thing that Ableton's got is you can actually key map custom keys yourself by hitting the key button there. I've already key mapped this drum rack. If I press play, you'll hear the drum beat, and then when I press 1, you'll hear the effects rack taking control. And you can control drums as well. If I go and arm the track here, that is the drum rack, it's a 909, and I get the right octave for it. Yeah, that's it. It's already key mapped to all these drums. So we're gonna take our Nintendo controller and map it to the keyboard, then we don't even need to mess with MIDI. So like you just saw, there are 15 keys mapped on Ableton already that let you control notes on different drum racks or synths in Ableton, but also you can key map loads of buttons as well to customize it yourself. But you know, it depends what controller you've got. This has only got 14 buttons on it, so I'm gonna have to make a plan what I want those buttons to do. So let's get the pen and paper out, do a little diagram. So everyone, like I said, you've got to have a little system of how you're going to map these buttons to the corresponding buttons on your computer's keyboard. So I've done a little drawing, I don't know if you can see that well. Oh, there you go. Terrible, weird, Willy-like drawing of a Nintendo 64 controller. But I've put all the letters to match the buttons on this. Now you don't have to do it exact same way as I have, but what I've thought is I'd quite like the up and down buttons on the D-pad to control the octave, so they match Z and X on my diagram. I've also wanted the big Z button, the trigger button, that to maybe that be the trigger that kind of puts on or off a really crazy effects rack. So I'm actually going to map that to number 1 on my computer's keypad, and then in Ableton key map that to the trigger button. Also, I thought the big red button, of course, that should be stop record, shouldn't it? So I'm going to key map the number 2 to stop record in Ableton, and then match it to this. And then the other ones, I've just mapped them to the buttons on the computer keyboard that are already pre-mapped in Ableton. And my plan is, yeah, you'll be able to play synthesizers on it a little bit, but this will be better used with a custom drum rack that I'm going to drag and drop my own samples into. That's my plan anyway. Here it is again if you want a closer look. And what I'd suggest is you do it your own way, but feel free to copy my way as well. So let's get it set up in Ableton. So everyone, that's me loaded up Joy to Key just there. Let's have a look at it and how we can map the controller to it. Now in Joy to Key, you can see how it has on the left hand side, you can have different profiles if you want to, which is kind of cool. I've just set up a new demo one to show you guys, but you can have different profiles for different things you want to use the controller for, which is awesome. So maybe one set to do beats, one set to do melodies, it just depends. Now I'm going to do a new one. I'm going to set it up as per my drawing that I showed you guys earlier. So I'm just going to start with the shoulder buttons. And as part of my drawing, I said I wanted that to be button A on my keyboard. So I'm gonna find out where it is. It's on joystick 1. It's lighting up yellow, it says button 7. Double click that. It's gonna type in the letter A, click OK, that's assigned. Next shoulder button, oh yeah, there it's button 8. Double click it. I said I want that to be W, it's assigned, okay? And I'm gonna go through them all like this. Let's do the D-pad. This button here, I can go up, double click that, and assign that to the letter S like I wanted. Click OK, cool. And the other way, I said I want that to be letter E, let's do it. Okay, E, and so on and so forth, and I'll assign the buttons on this controller to the buttons that are relate to my keyboard, so that it's going from the controller to Joy to Key, and I'm telling Joy to Key what button, when I press that, is it going to activate on the keyboard, and then that can activate the sound in Ableton. Now, that's me got all my buttons assigned on this, yes! Now, it should be triggering sounds when I go into Ableton. So if I click to Ableton, let's arm the bass synth, that's square 3 pure bass. We should get some sounds, but we're not. So if you don't get sounds, remember you need to make sure this keyboard button's lit, and that activates Ableton's keyboard that's like this. We got sounds, and depending how you've mapped it, you might have mapped it across the full octave. I haven't done that this time, I'm getting some of the sounds. So let's check out what the drum rack sounds like. Loads of sounds, nice one. Okay, let's see if we can map the number 1 to that effects track we had on the go earlier. So I've hit play on that beat. Okay, hit the Z button, here we go. Yes. And if you don't know how to do a key map in Ableton, it's super easy. You do this, you click key, and you click the button you want it to control. I'll hit that session record button, okay? I wanna map that to the number 2, because I know that's mapped to this button on that. So number 2, it's mapped, okay? I can click key again to get out of this. Let's arm this track here, okay? And if I hit that big button there, it should start recording, because it'll start launching this button. Hit record on this, triggers that, we'll be ready to go. Let's see. Yeah. Let's record in. Hit stop. Stops the recording. And then obviously I'm going to quantize that. Now what I love to do the most is actually get a blank drum rack, drop it in, fill it with my favorite samples on where this guy plays. So let's do that. I'm going to go to instruments, drum rack, drag it into the space, got an empty drum rack. Let's arm it. And when I press the buttons on my controller, you can see the little squares that light up yellow. They correspond to the buttons I am pressing. So all I need to do is say I want on the shoulder button of this to be a kick and that one to be a snare. That's quite nice, you go kick, snare, good for finger drumming. So hold down the shoulder button. You see it's yellow there, C1. All I need to do is go find a kick in my packs. So I'll just go samples. I'll just type in kick, search for one. Drum hits. Let's get, oh actually I got a Lego Welt. Shout out to Lego Welt. He's got loads of good sample packs for free. One of my favourite producers ever, give him a shout out. But jump into there and get a cool kick. Oh, that is nice, that is nice. This is his new Electride pack, so let's see if we can get a snare out of this as well. Snare, drop that in. Lego Welt, oh loads. Drop that into, where are we dropping it though? Hold down the other shoulder button, C, there. You see it lights up when I do that. Let's check out, press that, press it down, yellow light there, drop it in. Now we can go. The snare sound needs adjusted. Nice one. So I'm going to fill up my drum rack with cool sounds. You can even add cool pad sounds like this one here. It's going to drag it onto this button. So drag it on. Okay. I'm going to shorten the sample. I'm going to give it a bit of a fade out like that. And let's play it. Let's see. Maybe make it a bit shorter. A bit shorter. Maybe even a bit shorter. That'd be cool. So I've got that pad sound. What would be cool if it was repitched on the other button? So I can just control click and drag that one across, then pitch the second one up, and maybe by like 2 or 3 steps. 1, 2, 3, 4 steps maybe, let's see. So I like doing stuff like that, adding pads in as well. Now eventually you can create a whole drum rack filled with sounds, map it to this, and you have loads of cool sounds in it. I've stolen some from Kraftwerk in this, some from sample packs, but check it out. Hey everyone, now we've got the Nintendo controller set up, why don't we try out in a live electronic music setting? I'm going to use it to control the samples, Mario ones and other ones you heard earlier. I've got the Novation circuit doing some beats in the background, and also I've got the Korg monologue running a kind of bass line in the background as well. So let's hit play and have a little jam.
Here we go! Here we go! Here we go!
So everyone, I hope you had a great time learning how to hack a Nintendo controller to play beats on. If you liked it, hit subscribe. There's loads more videos on Sound Lab's channel, and like I said at the start, check out their program online. They might have some live events you can go to near you to learn more music things as well. So thanks for tuning in, enjoy your music production, and see you next time.